So let's bring Teddy Covers in right now to help us break this down. Newfie Roman saying Ingram should be good to go. Let's bring in our guy, Teddy Covers, right now, coming to us live from Las Vegas, Nevada. We get him every morning on Betting with the Bag, and we're very thankful to have him. Teddy Covers, my guy, how are you doing on this Tuesday morning?
I'm all right, Jimmy. How about yourself, man? You hang on okay last night?
I'm hanging on okay. I did get the under, a late play, and I thank Doc, a big Ragu 62 for getting me on it. It was my last play, but I was on 2 prop bets at half units on Melvin Gordon, and I lost by 5 yards and 3 carries, and I couldn't believe they stopped going to him. I couldn't believe what Lynn was doing, what Rivers was doing. I was just, why don't we talk about it? What's Rivers doing out there? I don't understand. It was just as awful as anything I could imagine. What was your takeaways from the Monday nighter at Azteca Stadium?
Phillip Rivers is old. That's what my takeaway is. It doesn't. The Chargers have not been a team that I've been high on at any point this season. I didn't bet against them last night, and I don't regret that. I regretted that I didn't win a bet, but it wasn't like the Chiefs were an easy right side cash last night. It was Phillip Rivers making mistakes at bad times, but when we talk about that group of quarterbacks, the Manning, Brady, Roethlisberger, Rodgers, Breeze, and Rivers, I rank Rivers number 6. I think of that group, he is clearly the weakest. And the reason that the Chargers have never been in the Super Bowl, everyone blames this and that and the other. Phillip Rivers isn't good enough. He certainly wasn't last night. And we're talking about an aging QB who's declining right now. And I don't know how else to phrase it. Don't be surprised if we see stuff like this from Drew Brees down the stretch. Don't be surprised if we see stuff like this from Tom Brady down the stretch. The older quarterbacks have a hard time making it through an NFL season, and we certainly saw that last night with Rodgers, with Rivers, I should say.
Yeah, he was awful, and I thought I was in great shape watching the game the way it was being played. I was like, man, they're getting 5 yards of carry from Melvin. I was like, this is going to work out for me, and then they just stopped going to him, and it was just didn't even behind. They were playing pass defense against Rivers. You run in you set up in a passing formation, and then you run the ball. It's a Madden 101. We'll be breaking down NFL as we move forward. We have an interesting Thursday nighter. But I need some help with this NBA card before we get into college football. And we have a couple games tonight. One you're already on in college football. I have broken down just these first 2 games: Warriors, Grizzlies, and Blazers, Pelicans. Do you have any looks on either of these 2 spots?
So I have not made a move in the NBA tonight. I heard you talking about the Pelicans and saying I don't want to make a move on New Orleans till I know Brandon Ingram is playing, and that's my exact thought. If Ingram plays, I'm very interested in New Orleans. I'm not interested in New Orleans without Ingram. Now, there's a decent chance we could see Melo tonight. Maybe that sparks the T-Wolves, the Blazers. But these are not 2 teams headed in the same direction right now. New Orleans' arrow is pointed up, and Portland has been a major disappointment from day one, and I don't think Melo fixes that. Melo is not what they need. They need front court help, and Melo's a shooter at this stage of his career. Dime a dozen, but a guy who's getting a whole lot of pub and who's moving the number because he is in play. So I could only take New Orleans in that game. But I don't want the Pelicans unless they've got someone that can light it up, and that person being Ingram. So it's one of these deals where we're going to wait until close to tip-off and see what the info is on Ingram. If he's playing, I might get down on New Orleans before tip-off here. I don't want Portland laying points.
Yeah, and Ingram coming off a knee injury. You're not going to want to play him 35 minutes here. Joe Anisi, though, the work play of the day is New Orleans +4, -110. Prince of the City says if Melo plays, auto fade. If Melo plays, auto fade. David Stewart says Pelicans are not bad. He's saying that to my guy Jin there. Okay, so if the Grizzlies were coming off of that 1-point win over Utah and playing the Warriors, and the Warriors were 6.5-point dogs, I would take the Warriors. But they're not. They're coming off getting beaten badly by Denver, 131-114 on Sunday. So it's not like they're going to come in fat and happy. But is this a possible letdown spot for the Grizzlies against a G League Warriors team?
No. I mean, look, the Warriors are the Warriors. Grizzlies aren't in a position for letdown spots. Maybe off a win. We say Memphis letdown. Sure. And we see that for a lot of the rebuilding teams. They get the victory and then they exhale, and then the next day or the next game, they tend to be bet against. That's not the case that Memphis is in for tonight. But we're talking about a little bit of a different point spread range for the Grizzlies than what we've been used to seeing from Memphis. Now they just have to win. They got to win by margin. And if I'm playing, I could only lay with Memphis. I mean, Memphis is improving. Golden State is hopeless, and they are. The Warriors are absolutely hopeless right now, really both ends of the floor. So if I'm playing, I'm laying. I'm just not convinced that the Grizzlies are built, and more than built, I'm not sure that they have the mentality yet. All right, we're not just going to win the game. Now we're going to hold the lead and through the fourth quarter and close it out with ease. I'm not convinced that Memphis is there yet. So I can't lay with the Grizzlies here. I know I don't want Golden State. It's Memphis or pass. But this point, let me see Memphis do it before I get involved laying 6.5 for the Grizzlies. It's not something they've done yet this season.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess I'll just stay off at this point. Mally Mal saying Portland, and Junior Brown was not going to touch the Blazers until he saw CJ McCollum look right, and he's starting to look right. I'll have to watch. Do check out that show, Jamming with Jay Money, every day, 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Saturday. Okay, Teddy, I'd like your help breaking down these last two games. We're going to move over to Suns-Kings, and just a mistake that I somewhat saved by having the Celtics money line first quarter at plus 125. But Rubio not being out, this Suns offense was trash. Sacramento opening up a minus 1.5. Now twos across the board. This total opened up at 220.5. Now 216.5. That's telling me that Rubio's not going to be in the lineup at this point because that total is dropping the way it is. If you see Javon Carter, I mean, what did he do last night? 3 points and 2 assists in 24 minutes. I mean, if Devin Booker has to be the distributor and not the scorer, this team will lose. And we've seen it time and time again. Kings have won 5 of 7. They stopped the Celtics' 10-game winning streak, 199. Buddy Hield, 35 points, 14 of 24, 7 threes. Bogdanovich off the bench, 12 and 10, getting increased time at point without De'Aaron Fox there. This Kings team, without two studs in Fox and Bagley, stepping up, but after their big win over Boston and with the Suns team in the second half of a back-to-back, how are you going to attack the Suns-Kings game, or are you going to?
So, I mean, I watched the Kings beat the Celtics the other day. And, boy, I mean, that was a big win for them. They were, like they won a championship. They were dancing around the court. And they got Buddy Hield got hot in the fourth, real hot in the fourth, and was draining threes. And that'll happen once in a while with Sacramento. And they certainly have played better of late. I also remember opening night when these two teams played, and Phoenix ran them out of the gym, flat out. I think the Suns are the better of these two teams. Off a no-show. And again, what happened last night with Carter at the point was against Boston, who plays defense. Sacramento, not so much. And the Suns, to a man, not pleased. You read some of the quotes after the game last night. They were not amused by that performance. So I'm only looking at the Suns side here. That being said, with Rubio out, I'm not going to get to the window with it. While I know that it was Boston's defense last night and Sacramento's defense tonight, I also know that Ricky Rubio is the straw that has stirred this drink all season long. And without him, you find the underrated play. You know who I missed for the Cavs yesterday? I missed Nance. Without Nance, and he doesn't affect the point spread, that whole bench unit is different. That whole team is different. And I missed that. I'm looking for guys like that, the under-the-radar guys, the guys that don't move a point spread but absolutely affect the team when they're missing. Well, Rubio's going to affect the point spread, but without him in the lineup, I'm not convinced that I want the Suns here. Lean Phoenix, absolutely. There's no way I lay with the Kings tonight. Lean Phoenix, but I'm not getting the window there. Not a 2 or 2.5 without Rubio. If I get a 4 with no Rubio, maybe I'll think about it. lean Phoenix, and that's the way it's probably likely to stay.
Tyler Johnson has got to step up. Man, he's got to step up, and this is his opportunity. We knew that Rubio breaks down, and then you look, and Okobo is not the guy that we thought he would be. Maybe he will end up being, but Tyler Johnson has looked good at times, and I'm just shocked that he would not step up. I'm just shocked that he would not step up. All right, let's move over to Thunder Lakers here. And the fact that Javon was even on the court to get it rolling is a sign that they have no trust, that Monty has no trust in Tyler Johnson, who's a heart and soul guy that I kind of like. Junior Brown says Suns bench is weak and Rubio being out makes it worse. Okay, let's move on to Thunder Lakers. Lakers opening up at 11. That's where they stand right now. This total is at 210.5. Teddy, Lakers getting a ton of distribution, and it's helps that LeBron is leading the league in assists. They're getting 26.5 assists per game compared to the 21.2 that Thunder get with Chris Paul. Chris Paul, look, I didn't pull the trigger on Oklahoma City. Part of the cap was that I wanted Kawhi in the lineup, and I would have gone first quarter, first half anyways. I wasn't going to go first half full game, so I would have just gone 1-1 anyways. But Paul George hit the winning three. Chris Paul, 22 points. He's playing good. Gallinari, Gilgeous-Alexander playing well. But even without Davis or a hurt Davis, who I think should be out, I think they should give Davis a month to get right from that shoulder injury. Lakers have won 4 in a row. This is a home and a home. They're going to meet again in Oklahoma City on Friday. Are you making a move on Thunder Lakers, Teddy?
No, I'm not really even close on this one. I think there's a reasonable case we can make for both sides. And when I see a reasonable case to be made for both sides, I don't tend to get involved. Slightest of leans to the under, maybe in this one. I mean, the Lakers are playing defense, and OKC's not pushing pace, and especially on the second of back-to-backs, they're not pushing pace. So you have a team that's likely to play D and an opponent who's not likely to push, and that has me leaning under in this one. And I mean, the markets tend to knee-jerk on the second of back-to-backs when a team fought down to the wire the previous night. And then they're like, well, you gave it all you had. And they don't expect that effort the next night. But with no travel here for OKC and with the Thunder catching doubles, that's a different scenario than we're talking about a Thunder team that has to win tonight. Catching doubles, the OKC side makes sense to me. All that said is that Lakers aren't a team I have any interest in stepping in front of right now. They're good. And you talk about LeBron leading the league in assists, and but it's the defense for the Lakers that has really stood out to me for as much as they execute offensively. The defensive effort and mentality has been there from day one this year. That's why the Lakers are covering point spread. So it's really not a game that I'm going to get involved with. I'm not a point away from making a move on one side or the other. Slightest of leans to the under in this one.
Slightest of leans to the under. We are going to call Teddy right back. Is breaking up a tiny bit, so we're going to call Teddy right back. I think the under makes sense here. Very interesting. We have a couple people on the under right now. Ronnie Christie on the under. Farshad Asami liking Lakers first half minus 6.5. Eddie Oler saying Lakers 6-2 against the spread at Staples. Joe Rich Ramirez also on the Lakers first half. Malik Ogburn liking the Lakers over, though. Yes, Luis Fernando Esquinza. Thank you for guiding me into that direction. I would have. It saved my night. The two bets. So Dan Kelly bet on the Celtics first quarter money line, and the under in the Monday Nighters saved my night, and I'm very, very, very thankful for the help and guidance that you guys gave me. I do find the under appealing. Malik, could you, if you get a second, Malik, could you give me just a little tiny breakdown as to why you are on this over, why you are liking the over so much? I would love to hear that right now. Okay, let's move on to, and that boy cold like in the under. Wish it was about 217 though. I hear that. Let's move on to college football, and let's talk about the two games on the card first, and then we're going to go over all of Teddy's action. First off, Ohio, Bowling Green, Ohio at minus 17.5 now, 20 or 20.5. This total at 56.5 across the board, Teddy. We know that you like Eastern Michigan in the other game, but in Ohio, Bowling Green, has anything moved you close to getting to the window?
No, I mean, nobody wants Bowling Green, okay? There's no case you can make for Bowling Green other than, well, it's too many points. They're a bad football team at the end of another losing season, and I'm not anticipating Bowling Green to suddenly light it up tonight. So it's a Ohio U or pass a priori for me. Before I even consider the game, I'm not taking the dog. And the markets are the same way. 17.5's gone, 18.5's gone, 19.5's gone, 20's gone. We're looking at 21s now here in Vegas. A lot of 21s offshore, 20.5's. Is this a value bet on Ohio U? Hell no. They're coming off back-to-back, ugly losses that they in games that they needed. It's not like the Bobcats are in great mental shape right now. Either they're a 4-win team that you're laying 21 points with on the road. So easy pass for me. I want no part of this one. Maybe you make a case for the under, but with BG's defense, I don't want to make a case for the under. And with Ohio U's defense, I don't want to make a case for the under. They're not two good defenses by any stretch of the imagination. Easy pass for me. This is action only game as far as I'm concerned. Good luck if you bet it. I want no part of it.
We know that you're already on Eastern Michigan. I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about Big Ragu having a lot of interest, already making a move on the over. Got it at 55. It's now at 56.5. It opened at 54. Tell us more about why you're backing Eastern Michigan plus the points and what you think about trying to get over this total.
So last year, Eastern Michigan played Northern Illinois. The game went to overtime, and Northern Illinois won by a field goal. The year before, Eastern Michigan played Northern Illinois. The game went to overtime, and Northern Illinois won by a field goal. The year before, Eastern Michigan played Northern Illinois. The game went to overtime. That time, Northern Illinois won by a touchdown. That's 3 straight times these teams have met. The game's gone into overtime, and Northern Illinois has come away with the win. This is the only team in the MAC that Chris Creighton hasn't beaten since he arrived in Ypsilanti. Eastern Michigan's got this game circled, all right? They're also 1 win away from bowl eligibility, all right? Eastern's coming to play. So the only question that I have is Northern Illinois good enough to stop that? Well, the Huskies have 1 win against an FBS opponent this year by more than a field goal. I forget. I think it was Akron. Was it Akron or Bowling Green? It was one of the two. That's it. Every other win they have, they have 1 win against FBS squad, FCS squad, and then 2 wins by a field goal. And that's their season. They have cluster injuries at linebacker. Their quarterback's hurt. We don't know which of the 2 QBs is going to go tonight. There's another area they got cluster injuries. It was linebacker. Oh, the offensive line, they got multiple starters missing for Northern Illinois. And they're not that good to begin with. So I think the 5 points are a gift. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Eastern win this game straight up.
Wow. That's wild. That's a wild breakdown. It makes me want to jump on Eastern Michigan. What do you think of the total and Ragu going over it?
I have absolutely no opinion. I mean, none. I can see a scenario in which these two offenses, both teams are moving the football, and I can see a scenario in which it's a defensive scrum. I think East, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 20-17, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's 35-31. Both scenarios are. I don't like the over. I don't see. If you're asking me which way, I just don't see a high-scoring game here. But the total's not ridiculous. You get to 28, and you have to. No, I'm sorry, Ragu. I got no strong opinion on this. Clearly, I have no strong opinion on this total. I'm back and forth, even as I'm breaking it down in my head. I'm back and forth on this one. Pass on the total. I like the side.
A pass on the total, but backing Eastern Michigan. Ronnie Christie says, so should he go for the plus 170 money line?
So what I do, this is my personal strategy, okay? I'm going to put anywhere between half and 80%, 50 to 80% of my bet when I'm taking an underdog of 2 touchdowns or less in college football, the NFL. I'm going to put anywhere between 50 and 80% of my total wager on the plus the points. And then I'll take anywhere between 20% and half of my wager and put it on the money line. You get that bonus when you win, and you lose it obviously when you cover and don't win the game straight up. In this instance, I have my money already on Eastern Michigan plus the points. I haven't played money line. That's what I do on Sunday night. You don't get money lines on Sunday night and Monday morning. But I'll have something on Eastern on the money line before kickoff today. Probably in the 20 to 25% of my total wager. Yeah, so something, but not everything on Eastern plus the money line. Plus at the plus price on the money line, I should say.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Fade the Picks guy says, ask Teddy if he factors the weather into his picks. Yes, he factors the weather into his picks. We talk about the weather often, very often. So, yes, the answer is yes. Teddy always factors the weather into his action. Okay, I'm going to Dan Kelly on the money line. Ronnie Christie about to make the bet on the money line. I'm going to be safe here. I'm going to take the plus 5.5. That's at Bet Online at minus 115. Eastern Michigan plus 5.5 at minus 115. That's the best number. That's available at Bet Online, and I am in. Jin liking the first half under 27, liking the under. And let's move on to take a quick look at what... did I put that on the wrong... Oops, okay. Let's go back to what Teddy dropped for us to open up the week. And let's go over his looks right now. Teddy, Eastern Michigan plus 4.5, East Carolina minus 13.5, Illinois plus 14, Texas plus 5.5, San Jose State minus 4.5, and you were very close to making a move on Marshall. Did you get to the window against for jumping on Marshall?
Not yet. I haven't certainly haven't ruled it out. I just haven't gotten to the window with it yet. I've only made those 5 bets so far. I want to ask you, Jimmy. I want to ask you a question because the question was to me with the money lines, and you said you're the points. How do you handle it in terms of money lines versus taking points with the underdogs?
Since I've come down here, have. Okay, we're just going to call Teddy back, so I don't want to... sorry, we're having a little cutting in and out. Teddy, there. What's happened since I've come down here in the last 2.5 years, and my edge meaning like when I don't need to gamble to put food on the table and to pay my rent, I've stopped going for the plus money lines and have been going just for the covers. And when I first came down here, I was still taking the money lines, and that is sort of gone by the wayside for some reason. And I think it's just because my quantity of plays went up so fast working beside Loshak that I stopped going for the bigger scores that I used to go for. So,
makes a ton of sense.
What I would like to do, and I know it's a problem for, I know it's not when I see an edge or an angle, I used to attack it before I came down here because I knew I had to attack that angle so that I can pay rent, so I can eat. And not having that edge has made me a worse capper, I believe.
It made you a worse capper?
Yes.
You think you're hungrier when you? Because I've always found people. My experience has been the less pressure you're under, the more likely you are to handicap effectively. So when you're struggling, when you're going through a rough patch, that's when things tend to get worse, not better. When you're, oh my God, I got financial commitments that I have to make, and I better win this bet to be able to pay my car, or pay my rent, or pay my mortgage, or what. That's when things tend to go south more than when you're, betting with, say, scared money always loses in a poker game. It feels like that happens a fair bit in sports betting as well. Would you agree or no?
Yeah, I think that from a handicapping standpoint, when my whole life isn't on the line, I will see things clear, and I can be a better handicapper. What isn't happening is I'm not taking advantage of situations like I would before. I'm not changing my unit size. I'm not going after it. When I see an opportunity for a nice big score, I'm just still keeping it a $200 bet. I'm not going after it. I'm not trying to I just don't have that look. I'm going to make $1,000 on this look because it's such a good look. I'm just, you know what? It's just another play for me. I'm going to bet $200 on it.
So let's talk about that for a minute. I know, look, we spent a lot of time breaking down games. I have no hesitation taking some time talking about handicapping strategies and philosophies and life, concerns and all of that stuff. And now I lost my train of thought completely, Jimmy. What was the last thing that you said? Sorry, early in the morning.
I'm not when I know this play is the best on my card, I'm not expanding my amount.
Sure. One of the first lessons I learned when I moved out to Vegas, and I apologize, I know that my feed is crappy today. I don't know what the deal is with my internet. Vegas. But I can still remember the game. It was when Spurrier was the coach of the Redskins. And it was his first game as the Washington Redskins head coach in the preseason. And they were playing Mariucci and the 49ers. And I was reading all of these quotes where Spurrier was saying, preseason, I don't care. I want to win every game I play. And the game was in Japan, by the way. And Mooch, for the 49ers, like, yeah, well, we're going to it's like we're going to go visit this temple, and then we're going to visit this garden, and, oh, yeah, there's a football game. And it was so clear that the Redskins were the right side in that game. And I was like, well, what do I bet? And I'm like, well, I'm going to 1 unit, 2 unit, maybe a step up 2 units. I'm going to step up because I'm flat betting. I'm straight betting. And I got 2 units down on the Redskins +3. The closed -3, and they won the game 38-7. And that was the day that I said, when you have that good info, when you see it before the markets see it, it's okay to fire. It's okay to, on occasion, it's okay to fire. You can't be firing every day and every week, but when you see those spots and those big spots and the market's just flat out not there, it's okay to step it up a little bit. And that's a lesson I've learned and I've lived with, for the better part of the last 20 years. So when you see those step up spots, it's okay to step up.
I agree. And I need to get that back in, to how I cap it. The last 3 years have been the best 3 years of my life. Like or 2.5 years or whatever it is that I've been down here for. So I'm very, very thankful.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very, very thankful for this opportunity. But that edge, I don't know. There's something there's times capping is so exciting that there's no need for drugs or sex or anything like that because your heart's pounding through your chest with capping. And that's sort of gone away from me a little bit. When Chris Kunitz scored the overtime winner in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, it was a $10,000 score for me. And that feeling, that feeling I've not felt in a long time because I'm not putting myself in at-risk situations like that. And that's probably for the best. But I do sort of miss that wild edge and that excitement that used to be a part of it all. We could hum and haw over it. And I do on Liveline a lot with the guys because I do miss that edge. I do miss that my whole life is on the line. I don't know why.
See, I never missed that, man. I don't miss that. Because, again, it's not like I started in a different place from you or from most of our audience. I started as betting $20 and betting $50 and trying to grind out some cash, and that was 25 years ago, even more than that. So I've been there. I understand. But having that rush, that ultimate rush where and you cash that big score, it's worth something psychologically, but it's not something that you have to catch on a day in, day out. But you say, I missed that. Do you really? Or is it just, when you're making cash, I don't miss anything about what I used to do back in the day. As long as I'm coming up with winning wagers, I don't get frustrated with that.
No, I feel you. And I enjoy my life better now than I did back then. And that's what it all comes down to. And it's all these guys that, like, the meetups that these guys have in Vegas. Like, I have so many friends for life in this chat. And it's a very, 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 I'm very thankful. Let's get after this college.
Yeah, sorry.
football card. Let's start hammering this college football card. We have questions coming in as well, and I'm going to start popping up. Feel free to start hammering questions at me, and I will ask them. The very first question. Oh, we have D. Summers did ask a couple questions. One, he was wondering, and it's I'll break down the rotation number in the game, but he was also wondering if you ever play parlays, Teddy.
Yes, I do play parlays. One quick note. Someone was asking about the weather in northern Illinois for tonight in DeKalb. It's supposed to be no wind conditions. It's supposed to be chilly, in the 20s at kickoff. The upper 20s. It's not going to be freezing, but it's going to be cold. But that's the only weather for tonight. Parlays, I play one kind of parlay on I shouldn't say that. I play two kinds of parlays on a regular basis. I play games where side and total are related. I absolutely put side and total parlays together when the favorite's not going to win if the game goes over or whatever it is, a favorite and over, dog and under, dog and over. I'll play two-teamers a fair bit. And throughout the course of the college football season, the college basketball season, the NBA season, the NFL season, but mostly college football, I put in a handful of underdog moneyline parlays. My goal is to cash one big one before the season's done. And usually I'll round robin them. I'll find, 5, 6, 7 teams that I think have a chance to win the game, dogs that have a chance to win the game straight up. And I'll small wagers, but I'll round robin those teams together in various parlay forms. And that's where I'm looking for my big score. So yes, I do play parlays, but not, this is what I don't do. I don't play parlay cards. Okay, I don't work in the sports book and play their crappy parlay cards. I'm playing my parlays off the board. And I'm not parlaying everything. I'm not parlaying off that. There are two specific reasons why I parlay. One, side and total related. Two, I'm looking for those weekends where the dogs cash in college football or college hoops or the NFL, and those are the weekends where you make a big score. And when you hit one of those, again, one of those over the course of the season, you're going to pay for your season. You had two of them, you had a real nice season. You had three of them. You had a great season betting the underdog moneyline parlays. That's what I play parlay-wise. That's it.
I love it. I love it. That's I mean, for me, because I've never lived in Vegas. I
thought of another one.
Oh, sure, hit us.
I do play NFL Week 17 parlays. If Team A doesn't show up, and then in the NFL Week 17, and you sometimes find this in the NBA, but mostly it's NFL Week 17. You find scenarios where in the early game, if this team loses, then the late game, this team's going to sit their starters. I found a handful of parlays like that you make Week 17. But that's one exception. Sorry, I'm just trying to think of other exceptions, other times where I've bet in parlays. But really, Week 17 NFL's is just another one that sometimes I get involved with. Yes. Sorry, Jimmy, I cut you off.
Oh, no, it's all good. No, we want to hear how you do it. I mean, so when I would go to Vegas, I would, try to get the $5,000 day at the sports book, and that would, it's a pretty simple thing, especially, I'd go in the summer. The problem with me in Vegas was because I was a comic, so I had to go on my days off, which was like Sunday to Wednesday, but I would, make 4. It's a simple thing. You take 4 baseball games, you bet 200 on them each, and then you parlay them together for 200. In the 4th game, you don't bet 200 on it. You just take the biggest favorite in Los Angeles at the end night game so that you can hedge with the dog. And I would do that every day I was in Vegas. To hit that $3,000 to $5,000 day at the sports book. And I miss that stuff very much. And I miss parlays. And I will get back to them on a recreational basis more when I'm not here capping full cards. We have questions coming in, and it's from D. Summers, and it's rotation number. And we're not going to get to many questions today, but this is still very interesting stuff. Rotation number 125, 126, 24th ranked Texas A&M going up against 4th ranked Georgia. Georgia opens at minus 14 at plus 102, but now we have 13s and 13.5s, and this total stuck at 45.5. Actually, there is 145 out there. Do you lay the points with Georgia at minus 13.5?
I'm not in love with this Georgia team, and I'm not in love with this Georgia offense in particular. And all A&M's done is hang tough. They've hung tough with quality foes. It's not a game that I'm going to put money on. I don't expect to, because I respect how good Georgia is, but I'm not going to ask this team to win by 2. Have we seen Georgia's A game yet? Really? Have we seen that A game yet? It's not a team I'm comfortable in this price range with. against and all A&M's done is cover numbers. And it's been a consistent point spread winner in the Fisher era. Lean Aggies. Although again the 14s are gone. I missed the 14s. I'm not going to get involved unless I see another one.
Next question comes in from our guy Chili Dog Dooley. Ask Teddy about Minnesota. Should he lay the 13.5? You can get 13s. You can get a 12.5 at Heritage. It did open at 12.5. Is Northwestern's offense so bad that with a total at 40, Minnesota could cover the 13?
This is a pure pass game for me. Number one, Tanner Morgan is hurt. He's in concussion protocol. We're not going to know if he's going to play probably until right before kickoff or the day before kickoff. And I know I'm not laying this price in Minnesota without Morgan at QB, period. Okay, so that's issue number one. Issue two, coming off a loss and now laying doubles. No, that's not your optimal spot for a team that was, undefeated going into last week. And not that they were, dreaming of national titles or anything, but it's not a spot I want to lay doubles with. And Northwestern last week, all it was just an opponent that couldn't do anything. And even that game, Northwestern, that game had a chance to end like 24-6 or something. And the Wildcats finally made some big plays in the fourth quarter. But Northwestern is not a team I trust on either side of the football. If I had a free bet, I could only take the dog there.
Vincent Hawkins, our guy Vincent Hawkins, wants to know what you think of the total in rotation number 181, 182, 21st ranked SMU versus Navy. This total at 68. It opened at 68. It was juiced to the under. Now it's just juiced to the over, but it's still at 68 at Pinnacle. It is at 68.5 at Heritage, 67.5 at Bet Online. And Vincent wondering if he can get over this total. Do you think the over is in play?
I'm not playing Navy games over the total. Certainly not 68. And for all of SMU's offensive success, and they've had plenty, take a look at their red zone numbers. This team's settling for field goals way too often near the goal line. Navy plays red zone defense real well. So you might see more field goals than expected in this one. And, of course, when you talk about Navy, all they want to do is keep the ball, keep their defense off the field and grind out drives. So 68, 68.5, no way I get over that total with SMU Navy.
All right, that is he's telling you not to go, make decisions that you want, but he's not backing the over there. Vincent Hawkins, there we go. We still didn't get to enough questions, but we get Teddy every single day. So every day we'll have him here. Bama Nation says Ohio State minus 18 is low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit. Ohio State, Penn State, it's not. It opened at 18. There are 17.5s and 18.5s. This total at 56.5. This is a big game. Why don't we close with this to close the show up? Penn State, Ohio State, Teddy.
So conceptually, okay, we're in November. Ohio State's an undefeated team that's been ranked. I don't know what they're ranked. Are they number one, number two, whatever they're ranked? That's been ranked in the top 5 all year. They've been a point spread juggernaut all year long. They've killed everybody. The pressure is mounted. Now we're seeing them laying 18 points at home to Penn State. I can flat out tell you the rest of the regular season I won't be on the Buckeyes. There's too many points. There's too much of a tax on the Ohio State side here. Maybe they throttle Penn State. Maybe they do. But the price isn't right for me to be getting on this bandwagon at this stage of the season where, because of their ATS success, they are not an undervalued commodity anymore by any stretch of the imagination. Penn State or pass for me.
Penn State or pass. Michael Jordan says Penn State, keep it close. Take the 18. So, Teddy, going over your card, do you think that you will get to the window with Marshall, or are you getting cold feet? You were thinking about adding Memphis, Nevada, and Marshall if you got the number you were looking for. At this point, do you think when we come back tomorrow you'll have added any of those?
Well, with Marshall I missed the number. It's 7 now. Which is why didn't I get there? I didn't bet it right after I got off the air yesterday. And we'll see if it comes back. The other two I may well get involved with. But again, I'm not. When you're talking about the process for the week, it's Tuesday morning. All right. And this is where I'm supposed to be Tuesday morning. I'm not going to have every decision made. I'm not going to have all my research done. We'll get there. Today's a college football day, and we'll do a bunch of college football work. But I'm not. When I miss a number, I miss a number. So be it. I'm not happy about it, but it takes. I got some numbers. East Carolina 13.5. That was a good number. We're not going to see that again. So the fact that I missed one isn't. I'm not happy about it, but I'm not gonna kill myself over it. It is what it is.
I hear you. And Eastern Michigan, I have tailed Teddy's look tonight. Then he's got Eastern Carolina, Illinois, Texas, and San Jose State on his card at this point. Teddy Covers, thank you so much for joining. Every time you come on the show, we just absolutely love it. The chat lights up. Whether it is theory or actually break down individual games, it is a treat to work with you, my friend. Follow Teddy on Twitter at Teddy_covers, and he will be here tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, Friday morning. We have him all week. Teddy Covers, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for joining us.